Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm the Las Vegas area coach, and I'm out here today to show you a medium skin fade with a faux hawk on top. So we're going to start out with our sectioning off the top working area. That way it's actually out of our way for the entire haircut. So we're going to put in some cutting aid. We like to use the Tea Tree Hair and Body by Paul Mitchell. This will just help provide moisture to the haircut. It'll also break down any product that's left over in the hair for us as well. And we're just gonna get them all wet so we can section out this top working area for us. The reason we wanna do this is just kind of moves the hair out of the way for us, so that way we don't have to worry about taking an area too short. So I'm just gonna be moving these hairs out of my way here. And a great trick is to lay the comb sideways to really get that hair out of your way. He does have some shorter pieces in here, so we're really just gonna be clipping this middle section out of our way so that way we can really get in there. Beautiful. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna be going in with my clipper and a 0 on the side. I'm gonna be taking this to about 2 finger width above the ear and then be dropping it back just slightly in the back. And as I'm going around the ear here, I am utilizing a 45-degree and half C motion to really get around that ear without worrying about taking it up too high. And I recommend getting in the habit of just stopping at the top of the ear so that way whenever you're going around with your trimmer, you don't accidentally go past that ear and put a notch either before or after the haircut here, okay? And when we're coming back this direction, I recommend mimicking that with your clipper. And if you're working with a mannequin on a base, sometimes they get a loose, you can tighten it up there. So we're just gonna continue this around the mannequin here. So I'll turn him so you're able to see what I'm doing as I'm coming around. And as we're coming up, we're really making sure that we're kicking back onto the back of the clippers. So we're not just going up the head flat, we're actually kicking back. So there's a slight V at the top of that clipper there as we're coming up. This is gonna start the tapering process along with coming out at a C scooping motion. And I'll turn my mannequin here so we can see coming around to the front here. So I really want to make sure that these front temple areas are even before we go around the head. So I really like to make sure I have those even before I start working back to my guide again. This just keeps me from making it lopsided or fading one side and realizing that one side's higher up than the other. Utilizing those half C's again to get around that ear really. And then we're just gonna check for balance in the haircut so you guys can see some balance in the haircut there. Beautiful, just a little bit. Awesome. Okay, so now moving on, I'm gonna move into my one guard with my lever closed. We're gonna utilize that same method. We're gonna go in with our teeth, but make sure we kick back onto that spine of the guard and come up the head so we can start that taper fade. So as I'm coming up the head, I'm gonna go about a ½ inch or a finger's width above where I put the 0 already. Awesome, and I'm gonna turn him here so you can see. And because he does have some shorter hair on the side, I really don't have to worry about pushing that hair out of the way. Had he had dramatic length on the side, like 1 inch or longer, I would have gone in with a 3 first and then blended down from there. So that way I was able to see exactly what I was doing. But since he does have shorter hair, I'm able to actually go in and see exactly what it is I'm supposed to be taking off. Now I'm gonna take off my guard. I'm gonna open up my lever to create that half, and I'll be going in to blend from my 0 to my 1 that I did. So you can really see here. And as we're coming around, we're making sure we're not putting too much pressure. We don't want to scrape or irritate the scalp. If we do see some heavy patchiness happening, you can always use the notching method where you go in with the corner of your blade as a point cut and just kind of bring down that texture a little bit more. Awesome. Now that we have it blended from our 0 to our 1, the hard part is out of the way. We're gonna go in with our clipper over comb method to blend to the side length before we cut the top here. We don't wanna cut anything off the top, and that's why we have it sectioned up out of our way, but we wanna make sure that we can start the blend. That way after we cut the top, it's a smoother transition. So when we're coming around with our clipper over comb, we want to make sure that we're holding it down at the tail versus up here at the actual handle. It's going to give us more control, and then we're able to actually rest our hand on the mannequin head as well, or the human head, depending on what you're working on. So we're going to go in, and I will follow the natural growth of the hair. So the hair is growing this way, so I'm going to follow that with my comb. And we're looking for our clipper guard at the bottom, and then the length that we're going to on the top here. So once you find those two, you can go in and remove the bulk that is unneeded. Another trick is to really just make sure when we're doing clipper over comb that we're never holding our comb up, straight up and down, or straight out to the side. You can do that. It's not a wrong way. It just has a tendency to create more lines in the haircut, which makes more work later on. We're just gonna move around the head, blending from our 1 to our side length. And you're going to see as we're coming around, there is still a bit of a line, just a tiny little bit of a ridge left over. So we're gonna go right back into it with our lever open, or our 1.5, and really just blend that out the rest of the way for us. Alright, so we're gonna grab our 1, and we're gonna open up that lever to create that 1.5. And we're gonna continue that scooping mechanism, going in with the C motion, making sure that we're kicking back to the spine of our guard. That way it starts that taper for us. Come around the back of the head. Awesome. Just turn them here so you guys are able to see me going around the front side as well. And what I'm going to do to really give this a seamless blend is I'm going to go back through it One more time with my one lever halfway closed. So it's not all the way closed, but just halfway closed to really give it that seamless blend. And as long as we're remembering to rock back onto our guard here, the spine of the guard, we won't worry about taking it up too high because it'll automatically stop cutting when it's too. It'll automatically stop cutting as you're coming up as long as you're blending down, which is really nice. You don't have to worry about accidentally taking your fade up too high. And there's still a bit of a ridge, so I'm just closing it all the way down to the one just right here at the neck to really get that mannequin hair down. And then I'm just opening it up to my half. I'm still seeing just a tiny bit of a line right here. So I'm gonna go in and use that notching method that we talked about earlier. Just with a point cut. And I'm using my no guard with my lever open, so it's a half, okay? And just going in there to really help texturize and blend out that little bit of a line. Give us a seamless finish, beautiful. Awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna get into cutting the top of the haircut. So I'm just gonna really make sure he has even dampness throughout. I really like a lot of moisture in my haircuts. Personally, this just makes sure that I have a good tension and good grip as I work through the haircut itself. So I want to create a front working area guide just because he does have a couple shorter pieces and a couple longer pieces in here already. So I'm going to take a front working area about the width of my comb here, okay? So that way we're not taking too big of a section. We're going to pull it straight down. And I'm gonna take it right to his brow level. Now, mind you, I don't really recommend pulling it straight down and holding it tight because it is a bang area. Usually it's gonna loosen up and it's gonna shrink. So in order to mimic that, I am gonna comb it straight, but then I'm gonna let it go for just a second. That way it kind of loosens the tension, so it's not a super tight cut, okay? So combing it down, let go, releasing that tension, and then cutting across. And when cutting this haircut, I do not recommend cutting past your second knuckle here. One, because you can accidentally cut yourself, but then also two, because your finger gets a little bit thicker in that area, so it's gonna cause the haircut to actually become uneven at that point. You also have less tension when you're cutting in between here versus up here, you have a lot more tension when you're pulling it tight. And this spot's gonna get a little bit awkward just because the camera, so I'm gonna come around to the other side, that way you guys are still able to see exactly what I'm doing here. We're just gonna blend to the side working area, beautiful. Once we have that established, I'm gonna create a mohawk guide down the middle here. And again, with the mohawk, you wanna make sure it's about the comb width. This way we're not creating unnecessary movement within the hair. Use that front guide there. And we're just gonna blend it back to the back and side. Awesome. And then I'm gonna split this down the middle here. And then I'm gonna turn them around so you guys can see my sectioning a little bit better. Awesome. So we're gonna start out with his gnarly cowlick right here in the back. Gonna take a pie sectioning or a pivot point section, utilizing my mohawk guide that I created, and blend. And we'll split that section down. put it off to the side, create our new section, and just blend that as well. And especially with like the men's hair in general, I really recommend taking your time to make sure you have some clean sectioning. Also utilizing your pivot point from the back generally will help preserve the length right in the front area, which is where a lot of people can accidentally put holes in the haircut. So just take your time, making sure we're taking some good sections, moving that extra hair out of our way so we don't get confused on what we're cutting. And then we'll blend to that side working area as we're coming up. All right, split that one down. Awesome. Get quite a bit of length on top here. Perfect. And as we're coming to the front here, I'm making sure that my front guide is falling out of my fingers before I take any cuts, so that way I don't worry about accidentally making a hole right here in the front area. Awesome. Now that I was able to finish with the one side, we're gonna go back around to the other side and we're gonna do it the opposite direction. Again, just really making sure that we're taking those good sections and we know what we're taking off. It's got that really strong cowlick right there in our way. Just kind of move them along as we're coming around so you guys can continue to watch what we're doing here. And as we're coming around to the front, just like I had said before, really just making sure that front hairline has fallen out so we're not taking any holes or making it too short in any areas. And then that front hairline is fallen out, so again, just taking it down. Awesome. So he's looking really cute with this little faux hawk we got going on. So now we just need to kind of do the detail work around the edges, and where these little hairs are still sticking out, we want to make sure we take them down, okay? So we're going to go in with our clipper over comb again. And really just make sure we finish our blend out. I'm gonna find my clipper guide at the bottom here, my scissor guide up at the top, and then just take everything in between. And this will just provide a smooth transition. I like to go with the hair growth when I'm finishing out and detailing. This just softens up the blend versus going against the natural growth. Awesome. We're coming around the cowlick area, same thing, just really making sure I go with the natural growth of the hair. Maintaining the comb at an angle so that way we're not getting any unnecessary cut lines. Awesome. And since this is really just the detail work, there should not be a whole lot coming off here. It's just detail work. And now because the hair growth is going this way, again, I want to follow that versus going against it. So I'm going to come down this way with a pencil grip on my actual clipper, just to maintain it going with the hair growth. Awesome. So now we're just going to detail and style. So I'm going to add some styling products to his hair. I'm going to use the Original Outlaw, and then I'm going to blow dry and style it for you guys. So I'm going to be using the Hitman first to just add that texture. Awesome. Grab a little bit of that Outlaw spackle just to really finish them out. Beautiful. Then I just give you like a 360 spin of my lovely model here. Awesome. And that was my bald fade faux hawk.